Hello everyone. If you are new to my channel, then consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do it, thanks. By the way, I also have a Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, the link is in the description. Naruto the Worshipped by Raptor Fanfiction. Kurama decided that instead of rejecting Patoad's fusion, that he might be able to use this as his chance for freedom. His idea was a very bad idea. I don't own anything, adios.
It's amazing how full circle everything feels. Huh? Searsex asked Naruto as he ate breakfast with the boy, since the two of them were looking out at several animals that were nearby. Naruto was just smiling as he watched a dog chasing a cat up a tree. First, there were dinosaurs, then gods, and the creation of humans and animals. My time period had a lot of the same animals here. And then it was all gone. And now it's all back again. Even language has recovered. Naruto stated as he leaned forward. He was done eating, but he was just reflecting on how amazing it all was. Seeing the timeline from an outside point of view put it all into perspective. Searsex was a little bit confused at first, before he got it. So, there were gods in your time too? They weren't the same. I learned from Kurama that my clan, the Uzumaki. Well, they enslaved gods and bound them to masks. Those masks are broken and all the gods tied to them most likely dead. Then, there were dinosaurs. And then extinction. And then gods came back and recreated humans and everything else. It's kind of amazing. Naruto appreciated that as much as things had changed, there were still a lot of things about this time period that was so similar to his time period. Only, you don't have tons of giant animals everywhere. Naruto pointed out with a small grin on his face. He learned the facts about his clan. Millions and millions of years after the extinction of his species, so it was something he remembered more than a lot of other things about his own life. Oh, yeah, there were tons of animals that grew to super sizes where I came from. I think I remember killing a 100-foot-long spider. Or maybe it was a centipede or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a big bug. Naruto laughed as he looked out. Searsex shivered. A bug that large sounded horrifying. I guess that explains why humans from your time period got so strong. Were humans the dominant species during your time? Searsex asked, since in a world with giant animals it was hard to imagine normal humans becoming dominant. He understood that humans could become strong since the humans during his friend's time were enhanced by chakra, but it was just so hard to imagine. Naruto nodded his head. Yeah, and the funny things is not everyone that was strong were ninja. There was a country of samurai, I think they were samurai, that could match ninja. I think at least, memories are fuzzy of that. So, what are things like for your people? Naruto asked, since he still knew very little of the culture that he was taking part in. Searsex seemed to regard his question. Well, there are multiple factions, and multiple pantheons. Were you religions during your time? Searsex asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Naruto shook his head. I believed in gods, but I didn't care about them that much. I mean, we believed in the Pure Land. And heaven and hell, I guess. But most shinobi believed in the concept of the Pure Land. I guess you're the bad guys, since you're demons? Naruto had a grin on his face when he asked that. Searsex nodded. Technically, we are and we aren't. We have different values. We value the things that corrupt humans, greed, pride, lust, and envy. We follow our desires more strongly than our angel counterparts. But we also are bound to contracts unlike our fallen angel enemies. Searsex spoke as he took out his phone and showed it to Naruto. Naruto had no clue what it was, but he paid attention. Searsex opened up an app on his phone, and he showed it off to Naruto. Cool. A thing I've never seen. It is an app that scans soul value. When a human makes a contract with us, we collect payment that is generated by the worth of their soul in relation to their wish. In the old days we just took souls. Now we can only take souls if the human agrees their soul is worth their wish. Searsex stated as he pointed the phone at Naruto and scanned him. There isn't a wish I could give you that would be worth your soul. Searsex explained to Naruto. Deadpan look. What? That means that you could wish for anything pretty much, but my app can't calculate a wish that would be equal to the value of your soul. Your soul is an ancient human with great power. You're a truly unique soul. We used to just take human souls to hell. Now we use out contracts with humans to show off to other devils and raise our own ranks. Our society aren't the bad guys per se anymore. But there are many among us who are just as evil as back in the day. Searsex could not deny that there were many vicious and evil beings among his kind, who relished the old ways and the thought of returning to them. Naruto leaned back. Punishing bad souls, wouldn't that make you good guys? Not when we corrupt those good souls, but that is what I fought so hard to change. I fight for peace between the species, and I want to abolish the process of taking souls. I think life is precious after all. Searsex spoke from his heart with Naruto. Naruto was just the kind of guy that made you want to open up to him after all, and it was why Searsex could understand him going through so many therapists. So, if you're demons, and there are angels. Okay, so I'm understanding how things are. Peace, and fighting for peace. Your values are different than the people you want peace with. It makes it hard to understand each other. Naruto spoke as he tried to imagine a way to make peace between these species. He came up blank. The angels value moderation, holding back your desires, thinking about the greater good and how you can sacrifice yourself for it. The values of their society are the opponent of our instincts, and I don't fault them for it. Their values are what make a person great. After all, those are things I value as well. Searsex stayed loyal to his wife, his singular wife, unlike the many of his species who formed harems. He was always striving not just for the betterment of his species, but the greater good of all species. He was just different than many of his species after all. It's okay to be selfish, but there's a time and place for it. I don't see a problem with your side of their side. You could both learn from each other. We gain power from following our desires, and if they stop their moderation then they fall, and become fallen angels. We gain our power from our values, our very nature's conflict. Peace is hard under those conditions. It's kind of why I tricked my species into worshipping your statue. Searsex admitted with a small, teasing grin on his face. Part of his plan. The world, the human world as well, knew of the great mystery statue that had been around since the dawn of man. It was recorded in history books, and human history registered it as a lost artifact of ancient wonder. There were paintings of Naruto's statue form, so it was easy for him to convince his people that Naruto had been a sealed demon god from before the time of man. That he was a life-giving demon who had been cursed and sealed for being a pure-hearted demon, who gained strength to become a god. He tricked his species for the purpose of trying to change their nature for the better, but in the end people started to make up their own assumptions and perverted the ideals that he set for them in the first place. Didn't work though. It really didn't work the way I thought it would. You became part of our culture, and I'm dealing with a lot of backlash over your revival. Searsex had to admit that his lie was coming back to bite him in the ass. Half of the people were demanding that Naruto rule over them as their one leader, while the other half saw him being a human and not a demon as proof that they had been lied to. Let's just say, the fact that you revived has not gone unnoticed by others. And I'm trying to allow you to live a normal life if I can manage. Searsex spoke with a sorry smile. He would do his best, because he didn't want Naruto to suffer through living a life that was forced onto him by others. Nay, any choice in the matter, so he would deal with the backlash by himself. Cool, thanks. So, why are you trying to get me to date your sister? Naruto asked the man with a raised eyebrow. A legit question. I think you two would look good together. That's all. Searsex added when he saw Naruto's expression, and he laughed. Seriously, you're a great guy. I knew that we would get along the moment I saw you hundreds of years ago. I feel that if anyone could treat her with love, it would be people like you. And who better than people like you? You. Searsex pointed at Naruto's chest, right in the center of it. Cool. That's all. Cool. Not much I can say to that. She's a nice girl. And it's not like I have anything else right now. Now for the biggest question. When can I go? Kurama, I'm asking that now. Naruto turned and talked to the imaginary Kurama in his head. Sorry, Kurama was. Oh right. So when can I go to the human realm? Naruto asked with a lean forward. Searsex leaned forward too. Once we get you some legal papers, and teach you some basic rules for interacting with human society. Tell me. You're faster than a train. How would you get from city to city? Searsex asked Naruto seriously. I would jump from building to building, and run. Yeah, that isn't allowed. Supernatural stuff like that is a secret from regular humans now, so we can't have a super-powered human running around, jumping off buildings and causing a stir. And I want to explain modern-day human culture to you so you aren't shocked by what you see. Searsex could imagine how shocking all of this modern-day stuff would be to Naruto. Full circle is what Naruto said. But the humans of Naruto's world developed technology to fit their needs, but because they were all superhuman they had different needs. They didn't seem to have developed the need for a lot of modern-day tech that the average human in this day and age relied on so heavily. If they wanted to travel from country to country, they would just run there. If they had a message to send, they would send it on a trained ninja bird. Bird ninjas. He was afraid that Naruto would react very poorly to technology from the modern era, so he wanted to explain some of the shocking stuff to Naruto before he let him take the train to the human world. Also, are you sure that we haven't been best friends for years, because you can read me too well? Searsex could see that Naruto had caught him hiding information. Magic ninja. Touché. When I got you, there was a prophecy about you, and I want you down here so I can rub my friend's face in it. I believed in the prophecy, and he didn't believe. I made sure that he doesn't know you awakened, because I want to prank him super hard. Searsex spoke with a grin on his face. Naruto leaned forward with a grin. A prank you say? A prank, he says, not realizing that I was told by his parents that you woke up. Ijuka, nice to meet you Naruto. Do you mind if I give you a medical exam? Ijuka asked as he walked up behind them, and he placed a cold soda on the back of Searsex's neck. Cold? Wow, you're no fun. Why do you want to give me an exam? Naruto questioned with crossed arms and head tilted. Your biology is different than modern-day humans, Suffice to say you aren't human by the modern definition. What if you had a child with a human? Would the human be a human like you or like them, or would it be a mix? And what would your DNA be like meshed with our DNA? Would the baby between you and a devil be a devil with ninja powers, or a ninja with devil powers? You're a genetic mystery. Where did he go? Ijuka asked as he looked at Naruto. Naruto not sitting in his chair, but instead there was a log right where Naruto should have been. He had no clue where the log came from. Most people would try to escape when that is how you introduce yourself to them. Searsex pointed out. Also, how did he do that? Searsex had no clue how Naruto just did that. He didn't even notice when Naruto vanished until it was too late. Searsex and Ijuka got up and left. They needed to find Naruto. Poof, the log turned back to Naruto. Turn into something else technique, temporary name, good thing I remembered this. No medical exams for this guy. Naruto stopped pretending to be a log and stood up. He stretched his back muscles, before he grinned and walked away in the other direction with his hands in his pockets. That Ijuka guy seems nice, but all that science stuff just goes right over my dumb ass. Naruto insulted himself with a grin. He was not a medical expert or a science expert. He was a punch things until they worked or broke expert. Apparently he was also an expert therapist. You can break his neck. Seriously, Kurama, do you need to be such a... Naruto asked as he looked behind himself for the voice that continued to try to tempt him with dark actions. The voice was at its loudest when he was alone. We can be alone again, just the two of us, together forever. I don't want that. Just us, you and me, but you need to kill everyone first. Thanks for babysitting for us while we work, Naruto. It seems he really likes you, Searsex stated as he entered the room with his wife, only to find his son sleeping on Naruto's lap. Naruto smiled at Searsex and waved to him. He's a great kid, he's really smart. Naruto picked up the child and passed him over to his parents. He had some studying to do before he could go back to the human world. And then he had another therapy session with Cyroorg as the therapist analyzed him again. You can kill them all, it would be easy. Break their necks, snap their spines, cut their vitals. Oh, thank God fake Kurama is starting to shut up. Naruto could hear Kurama's voice fading away, even though it sounded a lot like his own voice. Searsex was used to Naruto talking to fake Kurama, so he just took it with a grain of salt. Grafia on the other hand sent Naruto a slightly concerned look. Hearing voices that you knew didn't exist was never a good sign of good mental health. So, fake Kurama doesn't like to speak up when a lot of people are around. I take it the guy is shy, huh? Searsex joked with Naruto about the voice in his head. Naruto laughed. Yeah, haha. Naruto laughed off the comments. Whenever he looked behind himself, he couldn't see the voice, but it sounded so real, like it was right behind him whispering into his ear. The voice sounded almost nothing like Kurama's voice. It sounded like a distorted version of his own voice. But the message of blood and murder, that was what Kurama was always for. Searsex was on the floor with his head cut off. Grafia had her spine snapped and bent backwards. Milikas had his throat cut open. He really likes to show me stuff when he gets fussy about me not listening to him, but if I ignore him enough he takes a break. Naruto laughed off the vision he saw. Everything in the room returned to normal. Searsex was perfectly okay, and holding his perfectly okay son, and his wife was just as okay. Nobody was dead. Naruto's therapy session, you got an opening, rip his heart out. Naruto saw that Cyroorg's chest was wide open after Naruto countered a blow, and it would just super easy for him to just use a little chakra to cut open a hole in his chest, right to his heart. It would be one of the easiest things in the world. He had the training and knew how to use his wind chakra. Naruto punched Cyroorg in the face. Ha ha ha, good hit. Cyroorg shouted with a grin on his face. His cheek was going to be swollen and bruised from that blow. He pushed forward though, only to realize that he could feel something touching his back. Another Naruto was behind him, holding a knife to the base of his neck. Naruto's clone dropped the knife with a grin, before vanishing with a pop when the original Naruto punched Cyroorg in the cheek a second time. Same cheek even, with Cyroorg being knocked back by the blow. Sorry about that, but had to see if my stealth skills were still up to par. No harm done, right? Naruto asked as he extended a hand to Cyroorg to help him back to his feet. Cyroorg just laughed. I didn't even sense that clone. Guess that is the difference between training and real life and death experience. For a second there, I felt like I was going to get killed. Cyroorg laughed off the feelings that he had gotten when he felt the knife touching his neck. It was only for a brief second, but he was sure that he could have been killed right then. Cyroorg with a knife lodged in his spine. Nah, it was just a distraction. But I guess clones aren't exactly fair for sparring. Naruto mused out loud. Right, clones had his mind as well, and thus it was possible they could be affected by fake Kurama's whispers just like he was. It would be better if he didn't make clones during times that fake Kurama was being super annoying. He didn't know if he would be able to stop the clones from listening to those tempting whispers. Ha ha ha. I'm a mentally broken man, and I'm in desperate need for healing, I guess. Naruto laughed at his own situation. What else could he do? All he could do was endure what was happening to him by himself, because until the voice stopped and fake Kurama was out of his life, he wouldn't really be able to talk to people about the things really bothering him. Cyroorg laughed. Yeah right, you're not broken, you just need to get your memories back is all. That is what I'm here for, to help you out there. So, when are you going to go on that date with Rie? Cyroorg asked Naruto as the two left the training area in pieces like usual. They had been doing this sparring for over 3 weeks now, and he needed healing after every session so that he could come back for more sparring during the next session. 3 times a week for 3 weeks, and he was loving just how much fun he had when he sparred with Naruto. It might be therapy for Naruto, but it was a fun time for him that truly made it worth going out of his way. I've got 2 more therapy sessions, says the lady in charge of my therapy, and then I've just got to wait for Sears to finish enrolling me in Kuo. I hated school growing up, but it will be nice to be around people my age and see what civilian life is like. I really want to avoid getting involved in fighting and drama if I can help it. Naruto laughed at himself. Yes, a civilian life with as little conflict as possible. That was just what he needed in order to get his life back in order and heal from what had happened to him. He was still going to train and get stronger, that was just who he was, but he really wanted to enjoy a nice, quiet life if he could. Right, you were stoned to stone when you were 16, so you would be in the year under Rias. Did you hear? Rias just recently got the boy with the boosted gear into her period last week. Cyroorg stated as he grinned. The news was spreading. What gear? Boosted gear. It lets the user double their power every 10 seconds. She also added another member to her peerage, a new bishop. But there isn't much special about her, so she's just a side note to the boosted gear. Cyroorg would like to have a spar against the boy who had the sacred gear. Fighting Naruto was nice, but he had been losing for 3 weeks and he couldn't see himself winning anytime soon at least. It would be great to fight somebody new so that he could see if he had been improving with his fights with Naruto. Sounds fun, I guess. Having your power doubled. That would put a ton of strain on the body. I bet with each double, the stamina it takes to maintain that power is doubled too, so it's a huge double-edged sword. Cyroorg snapped his fingers at Naruto. Bingo, the boosted gear and divine dividing are limited by the strength and stamina of their wielder. The boosted gear can't double the user's power beyond their absolute limits, and if the divine dividing user takes too much power without releasing it, they break their bodies. Divine what? The rival sacred gear to the boosted gear. Rival. So it must divide people's strength every 10 seconds. And give it to the user? Naruto was pretty sure that was the ability that made the most sense for a rival of a guy that could double his own power. Let the divine dividing user take your chakra. Let him explode. Let him explode. Since he doesn't have the chakra coils needed to contain it, let him take your senjutsu chakra. Let him turn into a toad statue. Then you can break his statue and make us feel better about the hell we suffered from. I don't need to do any of that fake Kurama. You're awfully talkative today. Naruto noted that his imaginary Kurama was being way more outspoken today. Maybe it was a sign that his therapy was working? Did wars before they started to get better? No, this is too simple, not impressive enough. Everyone in the club room currently was watching as Rias went over job requests for her that were being made ahead of time. Issei and Asia had only been devils for about 2 weeks now, but they were used to her being cool and confident, but at the moment Rias was getting all of them ready for something. I'm sorry for failing to get contracts. Issei apologized with a down expression. It's fine, just promise to do better. Akeno, have you found any important or high-quality requests? Rias had Akeno looking through requests, and sending her familiars out to pass out their flyers to any person who seemed to have a high quality to their souls. She needed to find an impressive request. One for entertainment for a club that desperately needs help, but the rest of them aren't all that impressive or high reward. Great. That might work if I don't find anything in here. Today, as a group we are going to do a contract to impress a man who will be visiting us. He is very important, so I need everyone to do their best, and show off their best work to him. Rias had gotten a message from her brother that Naruto was going to be coming to the human realm to visit them. Naruto had not met her peerage, and she wanted to show off her cool side to him. This would be an important meeting for all of them, and there was no better way to show off just how good of a leader she was than to show Naruto how her peerage could complete requests. We haven't been devils long, are you sure you can rely on us? Issei asked nervously. He had yet to complete any request, though he got tons of good reviews from his clients despite failing, and Asia had only been doing cosplay requests with Kaneko. She had yet to complete a request by herself yet, taking along with a veteran in order to do her job with her. Who is this person? Asia turned to Akeno. Both of her. Era. Akeno was confused when she saw another Akeno was standing next to Asia, giving her a cup of tea instead of herself. Everyone was instantly confused by the appearance of a second Akeno. The only person who wasn't confused was Rias. Rias, who had yet to notice anything was wrong, due to the fact she was looking through all of her requests. Era. I don't know which one is real. Yudo didn't know who was who. Even the era sounded perfectly like Akeno's era. Kaneko stared at the Akeno serving tea for a second, before she looked over at the Akeno who had just given request papers to Rias. None of them had even noticed the second Akeno enter the room, so none of them had any clue which Akeno was the real one or not. "I'm the real one," both of them said in unison. "Huh?" Rias now noticed what was going on when she looked up for a brief moment. Her cheeks turned bright and she stood up quickly, realizing the truth of the matter before anyone else. "Naruto." Rias gathered all of her requests and stacked them neatly together. She straightened her hair out, and took her glasses off. "Naruto? Are you Naruto?" Akeno asked as she pointed at Akeno, who seemed confused and pointed at Akeno as well. Both Akenos grinned though and vanished in a puff of smoke. Naruto and Akeno came walking into the room moments later, with Naruto grinning, seeing everyone was surprised that neither of the Akenos that they had been with were the real ones. Akeno didn't know what everyone was surprised about though, since the Akenos had vanished before she had entered the room. "I've collected Naruto from the train station. Hello everyone." Naruto waved when Akeno introduced him. "Yuto. Kaneko. And which of you is Issei in Asia?" Naruto knew their names, but he didn't have a face to put it to. Of course the girl who looked like she could be called a cute kitten would be Kaneko, and the boy that was designing a sword on paper would be Yuto. Issei raised his hand nervously. "I'm Asia Argento, nice to meet you." Oh his chakra." Kaneko's eyes widened for a brief moment. She couldn't feel how deep his chakra was, but she could feel just how all-consuming it was. It was the brightest, warmest, life force that she had ever sensed in her life. If the sun could be a person, it would be this person. Being in his presence was like being on her back, laying on the grass with a gentle breeze going across you. Your body basking in sunlight, not the hot scorching sun, but a spring sun, or a fall sun. It was intense, but the heat given off was so soft and comforting. Kaneko looked around at everyone else, and she could see that she was the only person who was having a physical reaction to his chakra. "Wow, you do give off a warm aura." Yuto got up and approached Naruto, reaching out to shake his hand. Kaneko blushed when she realized that she was the only person who could sense the actual qualities of Naruto's energy, since she was the only person who had experienced sensing this kind of energy. The longer she stayed around him, the more she could feel his aura surrounding her. It was scary how comforting that she physically found being around him. Her body untensed itself and not by her own willpower. She felt herself relaxing. "I do?" Naruto asked with a tilted head. "He does," Issei, the person who couldn't sense things well at all, asked as he pointed to Naruto with confusion. "You do? I can sense it too, kind of. You seem like a very warm person." Asia bowed to Naruto as she greeted him, since this was the important person that Rias wanted to impress. She looked over as Rias stood up with a request paper in hand. She was smiling at Naruto. "This seems like a lovely chance to show you how devils do a request. My peerage is quite good at collecting contracts and good reviews." Rias really wanted Naruto to like her peerage, so she wanted to impress him. She didn't just want him to like her, she wanted to give him the best impression of every part of her life. That included the way she instructed her peerage in doing their jobs. "Oh, sounds cool. I'm so nervous. This guy is apparently a big shot if Bucko wants to impress him. I've got to do a good job. At the job site, sorry, but we don't need any men for this job. I'm a failure." Issei thought as the client saw the men in the group, and waved them off. They were in the middle of a currently empty, but very fancy, venue that seemed to be host to alcoholic beverages. It had a pretty large performing stage, and many different tables scattered all around. Naruto came barging through the front door. "You left me behind." "Oh right, you can't use our sum circle." Rias realized that Naruto had not made the jump with them, so he had to run the entire distance to reach them where they were. She put a hand on his shoulder, and suddenly Issei felt a lot better. "This guy seems super goofy. So sir, what are the details of this entertainment? You put up quite the reward for it, so I assume that it will be a hard to complete request?" Rias asked in a more business fashion as she stepped away from Naruto. She wanted to show him how great she could do with clients as well. She was sure that he would respect her skills with dealing with clients. The man didn't seem like a pervert when he said he didn't need men, so she was also interested in what the request would be. "Tonight, a guest will be coming that I need to impress at all costs. He's very deeply connected in the industry, and he makes it a habit of destroying businesses that don't entertain the guest he brings with him. And it's a different guest each time. Seems like rather easy request." Rias could easily woo a human into being impressed. That was not a problem. Akeno was skilled at those types of requests, and Kaneko was the cosplay expert of their group. She did so many requests that had her in costume that she was a natural when it came to it. Everyone seemed relieved at such an easy-sounding request. Naruto on the other hand smiled. "The problem is the guest that he is bringing, isn't it?" Naruto asked as he leaned forward, seeing the trend THN. "It's somebody who has never been impressed before, and my guess is that your best performers aren't available." Naruto gave his best guess for what the entire situation was. The client looked at Naruto with an impressed look. "You got it in one. The guest he is bringing with him is his own grandfather." who is blind and hasn't walked in years. Nobody has had their business survive this man bringing his grandfather. The client spoke nervously. The relief that went through everyone was gone. Yes, I can see why that could be difficult. For somebody who can't see, a performance other than a musical one won't really hold much sway. And an older man will usually not have the same tastes in music. Rias could now see why the reward for completion was so high. It would be a very hard request to fulfill. Naruto had a weird idea suddenly. A flash of a toad transforming into a fox appeared in his mind. It was just a weird flash of memory as he thought of a way he could help Rias. He had not done any ninja missions in, well, forever, so he kind of wanted to help her out. He's going to be here in 10 hours. I'm sorry, I don't think we can do a performance like that on such short notice. Rias felt bad that she couldn't show off her skills to Naruto, but this request was just unreasonable for her to finish. She looked at Naruto and saw that he was grinning. Naruto was just smiling, and his eyes went over to a framed costume hanging on the wall, and he looked all around the venue. He was gathering information to help him complete the idea that was forming inside of his mind. Oh, I see. The client seemed depressed by her statement. Naruto grinned. Actually, I have the perfect idea. I haven't done any jobs in a long time, Rias. Do you mind if I take the lead in this? Naruto asked her. She waved a hand at him. You can do something to help. Sure, do any of you know any upbeat and catchy songs? Something catchy enough that you can learn to sing it in a couple of hours? Naruto asked the peerage. Akano and Asia shook her head, with Yuto shrugging his shoulders. Issei put a hand to his chin and thought as he tried to think of the best song that he could. A song and dance. 10 hours isn't enough time. It's more than enough time. Do you have an idea? Naruto asked as he saw a glint in Kaniko's eyes, because it seemed that she had thought of a song that could work for what he needed. Got one? Yes. Backstage. 10 hours later. Okay girls, put these hats on. Naruto stated as he gave Rias, Akano, Kaniko, and Asia all top hats to wear. They were still wearing their regular clothes, and now all of them were looking a little nervous. None of them had practiced. Kaniko told Naruto the song, and he had been listening to the song for hours and hours to memorize it. He would stop and giggle to himself, but he didn't tell any of them what he was planning. Naruto asked the client if he would get the band to learn the music for the song, instead of just playing it on the speakers. What are these hats going to do? Asia asked, very confused. Very confused. None of them had practiced the song, and none of them had practiced a dance, and none of them knew what was planned. Sometimes Naruto would stare at them as if he were memorizing what they looked like, but he didn't tell them anything. It was like he just didn't want to tell them anything at all. In the main room, the client was so nervous. He had Issei and Yuto sitting at the same table as him, as his own client and grandfather were sitting together across from him. No words were needed to be said between them for him to know that this was going to be a harsh and critical destruction of his business if he didn't do well, if those girls didn't perform their absolute best. What was worse was that it was a full house. The bar was full of people, and all of the tables had people sitting at them. Everyone would see him cry if this failed. The lights dimmed as the curtains opened up. Who is that girl? A beautiful woman, with a dynamite body, walked ahead of the other 4 girls on stage. She had beautiful long blonde hair, and bright blue eyes. What was more was that she was wearing a bunny girl outfit with a top hat on top of her head instead of simple bunny ears. She had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, giving her a real bunny girl-like look to her. She oozed sex appeal so much that with each seductive sway of her hips the crowd could do nothing but look up and down her legs. Whoa! Is that Naruto? Yuto asked as he saw the whisker marks. Naruto, on stage gave a seductive grin to the audience. I'm so glad that I skipped therapy, thank you Circex for helping me escape. Naruto thought to herself as Kaniko, Akano, Rias, and Asia all walked onto the stage behind her and stood in that order. They didn't seem nervous on the outside, but they were wearing the hats they were giving to wear. They aren't. The client was visibly angry when he saw that only one girl on stage was in costume. This is the best you have, high school girls. I admit, they are all beautiful, but I doubt that they can impress us. His client spoke to him with an unimpressed look. The grandfather had the same grumpy look on his face since he wasn't able to see the girls on stage either. Naruto raised her fingers up, and then she snapped her fingers. Poof! Rias's outfit exploded in a puff of smoke, and she was now wearing a red bunny girl suit with her top hat replaced with bunny ears. She wasn't the only one either. Akano was wearing a purple bunny girl suit, with Asia wearing an orange suit, and Kaniko wearing a white one. All of them had their clothes changed instantly with a snap of Naruto's fingers. The audience was now paying a lot more attention. How did they do that? A magic show. You plan to impress a blind man with a magic show? Grandfather spoke as he frowned, actually angry by the fact that he couldn't see what was going on even more. With another snap of her fingers, the signal to start the music started. Music. Jump up, superstar. Here we go, off the rails. Don't you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew. What is going on with my body? Rias felt herself start to dance, and she wasn't the only one. The female members of her peerage started to dance with her as Naruto actually started to sing up on stage. With a SXY saunter across the stage, Rias noticed Naruto go to Kaneko first. Don't need bags or a pass. Naruto took off her hat and placed it in Kaneko's hands, only to turn it into a bag, and then a passport, before taking the hat out of her hands and placing it back on her head. Akeno jumped up off the ground and landed on Naruto's hand, with Rias jumping into her other hand when she walked between them. Say the word, I'll be there in a flash, you can say my hat is off to you. Rias and Akeno both reached down and took Naruto's hat off once more, before they tossed it into the crowd with their bodies moving on their own. The hat perfectly landed on top of grandfather's head. They both back-flipped off of Naruto's hands as she bent forward, bowing to the audience and showing off the perfect amount of cleavage. With a pop and a hop, Naruto jumped back to her feet, and the four girls slid across the stage to surround her. Oh, we can zoom all the way to the moon, from this great wide wacky world. Naruto zoomed with a jump out from the girls surrounding her, and they formed a line with their arms, going from tallest to shortest. Their arms forming a ramp as Naruto landed at the height of the ramp, and started to walk down. Jump with me. Naruto jumped off of the ramp when he got to the bottom, before she tapped her foot against the ground and a coin came flying out of Akeno's cleavage. Grab coins with me, oh yeah. To say the audience wasn't already loving the performance was an understatement. Their eyes were glued to the stage as the girls went back to their original placements. They jumped in time with the music on Sued to sing as she moved across to the ground of the stage. It's time to jump up in the air, jump up, don't be scared, jump up and your cares will soar away. And if the dark clouds start to swirl, don't fear, don't shed a tear cuz I'll be your one-up girl. Naruto reached down and grabbed grandfather's hand. He pulled him out of his wheelchair and jumped up towards the stage. The client's client got up from his chair in absolute shock, while grandfather shouted in shock and surprise. Naruto snapped her fingers before her feet touched the stage though. Poof, grandfather was in a suit, and he landed on his feet. I can see. The client's client watched in awe as tears started to pool at the edges of his eyes. So let's all jump up super high, high up in the sky. There's no power up like dancing, flirtatious. Each and every girl on stage went over to the old man and took his hand one by one as they each jumped up in the air with him, before circling around as Naruto took up center stage with the old man, and even the old man started to join in on the dancing. Naruto just tapped him on the nose, before turning back to the audience. You know that you're my superstar, no one else can take me this far. I'm flipping the switch, get ready for this, ooh, let's do the Odyssey. I can see. I can dance. The grandfather on stage looked out at the audience as tears spilled from his eyes, and he looked at his grandson. He and his grandson locked eyes for the very first time and saw each other. After closing, thank you girls so much. The client's client bowed to them. The grandfather was once more blind and in a wheelchair, but he was happy. His face had not stopped being set in a smile since he got off of the stage and lost his sight once more. He had memories that would last him the rest of his life, and he finally knew what his grandson's face looked like. He and his grandson were both still crying when they remembered being able to really look into each other's eyes. Rias was staring very hard at Naruto. It's no problem. One could say we were barely in control of our own actions, we just danced on command. Rias was still curious at how Naruto did what he did, how he gave a blind man the ability to see for a short time, and how he could give him the ability to walk. Not to mention how he changed their clothes, and they lost control of their ability to move. They each danced in perfect harmony with each other, but none had control over their bodies at the time. Wait, that girl on stage was him? Issei whispered as he felt heartbroken when he finally realized the sad truth that the most damn seductive woman he had ever seen in his entire life was a man. He felt broken and betrayed. Every movement that Naruto had made on stage had been seduction perfected, as if perfectly crafted so that every look, every muscle twitch, every motion, was made to perfectly show off every part of her body. He had seen every single man's eyes glued to the stage, to Naruto, and even several females were glued to the stage without being able to look away. This man had mastered the art of being a seductive woman to a point that very few women had ever mastered. Rias nudged Naruto. How did you do that, by the way? She whispered as the clients started to talk to each other. The make two people one person technique combined with make more Naruto's technique. What? Rias asked in confusion. Explanation. Naruto had shadow clones transform into hats, and when he snapped his fingers they performed the combination transformation with the people wearing the hats, transforming them into versions of themselves wearing different clothes. The old man was using Naruto's clones' legs and eyes to dance and see, and Naruto's clones were in control of the girl's actions. He's just an idiot and can't explain himself properly. That doesn't explain a lot. Rias really didn't know what Naruto was talking about when he gave her that bad explanation. That was so much. I'm so happy Sirzex snuck me away from therapy to be here. That was also something that needed an explanation. Also, Sirzex was in a lot of trouble, extremely dangerous? Yes, Naruto is showing the same signs of hearing voices that those with mental disease show. There are delays in his reaction time, and he reacts to the sound of something only he can hear. That's an extremely dangerous trait for somebody who can kill people as easily as he could. Searsex didn't believe what the therapist was saying in the slightest. Naruto was such a warm person that it was almost impossible that something dangerous lurked behind that smile. It didn't matter what the therapists were all saying. He has extreme early life trauma, he's a child soldier who was trained to kill people, and he was both emotionally repressed by his peers, and physically abused on the battlefield at a young. Actually, all things considered, the fact he is so shockingly stable is a miracle. Naruto had gone through experience that could lead others to suicide or mass murder, but he was just perfectly fine. That was the biggest red alarm to everyone that watched Naruto fight, and saw the way his eyes would wander to the places where he could kill a person. The way that it was clear he understood he could kill people, but decided not to show some dangerous thoughts. What was more alarming was that Naruto had no physical scars to remind him of his past trauma, so all of his trauma was buried deep inside of his mind. Not having a physical scar to make you reflect on your trauma could allow a person to push their trauma deep down inside of themselves. I've literally left him alone with my son, and my son just loves him. Searsex's entire family just enjoyed Naruto. All of them were great judges of a person's character, and Naruto had an amazing character about him. The therapist agreed with a nod of her head. Humans are just as evil as us devils by nature, but Naruto is a human as who good by nature and received zero love and support growing up. The fact he is stable is proof that he is a good person at heart. But I'm afraid that he could snap. And if he snaps, I don't see him being easy to stop. The therapist was worried about what would happen if Naruto's bad experience ended up getting bottled up so much that they just exploded. They won't. The spinny death ball, a technique that can grind, apply friction burns, or explode. The sharp spinny death ball, a technique that creates uncountable wind swords and puts them inside of the spinny death ball, severing each and every cell in the body. The frog slap, which destroys the internal organs while ignoring durability. The make more Naruto's technique makes up to 1,000 more copies of Naruto. The ability to transform himself into others. Stealth skills that allow him to evade even our most skilled trackers, despite the huge energy he gives off. The therapist started to list off the abilities that Naruto had told them about when they asked about the things he had learned growing up. Searsex was starting to realize something, that skilled with the blade, lethal with his fists, and senjutsu. Faster than a knight, stronger than a rook. Stamina to literally fight for days if he wanted. Can heal from injuries faster than devils can. And durable enough to withstand massive amounts of damage. He could kill our entire species if he snapped Searsex. The therapist started with an extremely worried tone that suggested just how urgent this was. Naruto could kill all of them. He could transform into anyone he wanted to, and his stealth would make it impossible for them to find him. He could become your friend, your family, anyone close to you, and he could kill you before you could even blink. He could send 1,000 of his clones all around the underworld, and have them blend in with society, killing and replacing everyone as his spree of carnage and murder went unchecked. Naruto wouldn't do that. No, he wouldn't do that. He would never do that. He is a good person who loves life, and values the lives of others. But what if he snaps? The therapist posed that question to Searsex. You said it yourself. He tricked you and Lord Ajuko with basic tricks. He could have killed you both without either of you putting up a fight. Are you sure your power of destruction is powerful enough to take him down before he kills you? Searsex wasn't blind. He took a deep breath. No, I don't think I could kill him. If he snaps, he could kill me before I'm done gathering enough magic to attack him. But I'm his friend. I'm not going to let him snap, and I have faith in him. Searsex could admit that if Naruto did snap, then they were all dead. It could spell the end for their species as a whole. Those that survived would never know if they could even trust their own families, and people would forever be stuck inside of their own homes for fear of being killed next. The surviving devil population would be forced in a situation where they would prefer to be dead. He is a ticking time bomb. What are you proposing we do? Searsex asked with a dark look appearing on his face. We kill Gak. Like with Sharon when Kuroka killed her master, if I recall, people were so afraid that little Kaneko would become a murderer that they decided to kill her. But she has been loyal, brave, and faithful to my sister because she was spared. Naruto is capable of mass destruction, but I have faith that even if he does snap, the love in his heart will pull him back. Searsex had spent a month with Naruto now at this point. He wasn't blind, he could see Naruto was the most dangerous person alive. If he wanted you dead, then you wouldn't be able to run fast enough or hide well enough to stop him from finding you and killing you. Searsex even had a nightmare about it, but only once. Searsex's nightmare. Gah. Searsex felt pain in his chest. Naruto's palm had made contact with the center of his body, and all of his internal organs were destroyed. He was bleeding heavily from the mouth, both his lungs and heart were destroyed by the palm strike. All around him were his dead family members, everyone was dead. Then he woke up. He can't be controlled. He doesn't need to be controlled. We don't control our friends. We save them from the darkness in their hearts. I'm not going to isolate Naruto, or try and kill him. Stupid idea. Sears dropped the woman to her butt, letting go of her neck. If they did try to kill Naruto, what was to say that wouldn't be the key to making him snap? If he snapped before he found love to pull him back, then all hope truly was lost. Therapy won't help him. He's a person who is completely and fully aware of his own heart. We can't make him take a look at himself from a new light. He's more self-aware than a normal person. People who know they bottle up their emotions have a tighter lid on their darkness than anyone else. Therapy will only make him. The therapist stopped existing. Sears had enough. He had his hand extended, and his power of destruction destroyed the woman in the wall behind her. He was done listening to her, but he knew what she would do. She would go behind his back and try and get the support of others. She was afraid for her life and the lives of everyone. Naruto can be our savior or destroyer. You don't understand why I tricked our race into worshipping his statue for years. I wanted to lay the foundations for his revival. I wanted our race to love him. Hundreds of years of hard work won't be in vain because you decided he was too dangerous to live. Sears had been planning for this for a long time. He had wanted to believe that Naruto waking up from his statue form would be a risk, so he wanted to do as much as he could to make sure that whoever woke up from the statue would be loved and respected. The life of one therapist was a price he was willing to pay, and with his own hands. You killed her. You were watching all of that? Sears saw Ijuka standing nearby. She is right about one thing. We can't stop him. His abilities are too suited to killing, and he's too skilled for us to take advantage of the weakness of those 8 even understand how his chakra works, since he doesn't know everything about it. My abilities might as well not exist, Ijuka mentioned with a growing smile on his face. Sears smiled. Exactly, if he goes mad, we're doomed. So let's just give him the support he needs to not snap. The solution seems pretty simple to me. Friendship is always a better solution anyway. Ijuka had no problem with what he had just seen. He might have been hiding, but that was for his own curiosity. I already have a plan for if he snaps. What is your plan? Sacrifice myself to seal the two of us away together. I will atone with my life. That is overdramatic. Ijuka and Sears both looked at Naruto. By the way, I heard everything and she was right. I do have a voice in my head telling me to kill everyone, but I'm used to those kinds of voices, so it's not too hard to ignore them. Naruto admitted casually. You should have been around when I actually had Kurama inside of me. He was always trying to get me to destroy everything. Fake Kurama is actually way more tame compared to the real Kurama. The visions could go away though. Naruto admitted since the secret was out. When? Where? How did? Ijuka had been hiding the entire time, but he had never so much as saw Naruto in the room. Sears looked all around the room. I was the pen on the therapist's desk. You were a pen. Sears could not see why the therapist was worried about the entire devil population going crazy with fear if Naruto snapped. He could literally be anyone or anything, and with his clones he could be anywhere at the same time. A person that had a target on their back with this guy would need to live their entire lives in fear of the very thought that the most basic objects could be Naruto in disguise. I mean, yeah, magic ninjas. They were kind of terrifying. Okay, Lord Naruto. I need you to relax. This magic will let me view all your human memories. The last day of therapy, and the last therapist. He was going to try one final approach to unlocking Naruto's memories, by going directly into his memories to try and jump-start them himself. By watching all of the memories, he would focus on the memories that were locked away by Naruto's own inability to remember. It was the best bet for Naruto to overcome the voices in his head. I'm relaxed. Naruto laid down with the man laying down across from him, the tops of their heads touching each other. Naruto had no real problem with a guy going through his memories, since he could barely remember them himself. I'm here for you if you need me, Naruto. Naruto sent a thumbs up to Sears. Okay, now take some deep breaths and count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Sears watched the countdown. Oh. Wait. Stop. Maybe this is a bad. Naruto started to talk, before the therapist finished what he was counting down with and both him and Naruto fell asleep. Sears watched. Inside the memory world it was beautiful. The world through Naruto's eyes was filled with hope. Even from his earliest memories there was so much love and hope. The therapist could only feel and see the world, but there was a problem. The memories had started not at birth like he had intended, but they had started at the moment that Naruto started to learn how to use senjutsu. The magic let him view all of Naruto's human memories, but it would seem that Naruto truly did forget about the memories themselves. He had impressions of them, and he could remember his pain and what caused the pain, but he had not the true memory of it. He saw the world. It's so beautiful. The world shined with life energy that he had never been able to sense, but Naruto could sense it. Through Naruto's eyes, his memories, his ability to sense, he could feel the world for the truly beautiful place that it was. Senjutsu. All life. He could sense all life all across the country. from the smallest insect to the largest creature. He could feel the breath of life that ran through the soil, the trees, the air. He could see the energy that flowed around nature and through it, penetrating all of it without ever once breaking the flow of the universe. He could feel the energy flowing through him as well as he became one with the universe. It was enlightenment. He felt turned to stone, and this was where the memories should end. After this point, Naruto was no longer a human. After all, he was a stone statue. The memories didn't end though. Instead of appearing inside of Naruto's mind, he continued to sense everything that Naruto had sensed. He was in total darkness, but he could still see everything so clearly. The raw beauty that could not be seen by the eyes of those who weren't of nature, beauty that eyes could not capture. No, I shouldn't. Time started to speed up. Naruto's memories were the memories of the planet. He was seeing the memories of nature itself as he felt every single death that happened all across the country. He felt the lives return to nature, more lives be born, and more lives get cut short. The endless cycle of non-stop life and death, he could sense and feel the beauty of it all. Years passed. All life ended. He sensed the moon, the energy of nature that flowed through it, collide with Earth. He felt all life go extinct just like that, but the energy of nature still existed. The universe still moved on even without life. Life was both pointless and amazing just because of how it ended. Time flowed on even without anyone to observe it, and still he was one with nature. He could still sense everything, but the world had become darkness. Years, so many years that it was impossible to count. A spark of life appeared, growing from nothing. Plants started to grow once more, and nature started to gain the golden hue of life. It was amazing, beautiful, to watch as life began on a planet. It was impossibly beautiful, because he had gone brain dead through the years that passed in these memories. That spark of life had awakened him in the memories he was stuck in, because so long had passed that he had forgotten how to end his own magic. So many years, he watched as the country he was on was filled with life that spread and spread, growing with unchecked power. Nature fueled itself, it created and continued to destroy itself. He felt lightning strike trees and destroy them during storms. He could sense the eruption of volcanoes that burnt life to the ground, but gave rise to new life to take its place. It was all there. All of history, all of the history that they didn't know. These memories were it. Life spread and bloomed and bred and died. Years passed by and so many years passed. Life had truly taken over the planet once more, so many billions of lives had come and gone during the time. All lives, not just the big ones, but the small ones as well. The insects, he could sense so many lives that it was mind-breaking. He could sense and trace all of their lives. His brain wasn't meant for this beauty, this was what it was like. He was more than a man, he was everything, he was one with nature. He had died as a man. That was what it meant to be a sage, to stop living and become one with nature. It was to become all and none, to embrace infinity and nothingness. To ascend to a greater existence of not only power, but knowledge. So many years passed by, but they could no longer be counted, counting them was a waste. This was ascendance. Life died out again, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to witness death become part of the endless cycle of life, but this time some life had survived. They were small sparks, but they were there. They were the spots where nature didn't touch, where the power of the cosmos around could not interact. The sparks of life, as the years passed and they moved, it could be seen as they spread and breed as well. How many years passed? Who was he? He was the infinite nature that surrounded him. He was all of everything. He was all of nothing. He was everything that ever would be and ever could be. No, you're not. Keep your mind. A voice spoke to him. You're not the sage Naruto, you're a demon, remember? No, why would you want to become anything other than nature itself? To be part of this never-ending cycle, able to watch over it all like a god. To be the living history that would always be around, until the true end. He forgot everything. Why did he need to endure the pain of being a man? He just watched. Eventually, he couldn't even feel the beauty anymore. His mind just broke, no longer able to comprehend anything other than being part of nature. He forgot everything, absolutely everything, including the history that he had witnessed. He just watched as time moved on, emotionlessly and broken as the memories that Naruto had accumulated over the time he spent in his statue prison. He forgot what he was here for, outside of Naruto's memories. Searsex covered his mouth with his hand, horrified as he watched the spark of intelligence and life leave the man's eyes. He watched as countless emotions went over the man's face, even his nose started to bleed. He touched the man to try and wake him up, it was brief. Inside of Naruto's memories, so beautiful. Years and years passed for Searsex. He watched the countless years go by and the endless cycles of life and death. As nature granted him the vision of the golden hue of the universe around him. He saw things through the eyes that Naruto had when he was a sage. Enlightenment. Searsex wanted to give up his mind and just enjoy this forever. He wanted to give up what it meant to be a man and become one with nature. He wanted to give up, never give up, because that is what it means to be a shinobi. I'm not gonna run away, I never go back on my word. Outside of Naruto's memories, Sears forced himself to let go. He gazed at the clock, and not even a second had point second was a lifetime of memories. He had watched the fall of countless beings, but he could truly appreciate the beauty of it all. I'm crying. Sears felt tears drift down his cheeks. He had died as a man. He had become one with infinity. He had seen everything. He had seen things that no person should be able to endure and remain a person. No person's mind should be able to endure such years without breaking. Naruto endured it. Naruto endured it for longer than any of them, but he didn't break. Naruto had endured. Sears collapsed to his knees as he cried. He truly cried as he understood the pain that Naruto had gone through. Not just the pain, but the beauty of being one with nature, but never allowing himself to be consumed by nature. Naruto had endured the constant temptation to just allow his mind to die off and become one with everything. Naruto had endured everything. Naruto had felt every life perish, every life born. The creation of life and its destruction from start to finish, time and time again. Sears, are you okay? Grafia, his wife, rushed to his side when she noticed that he was crying harder than he had ever cried in his life. His cries were filled with so many emotions that she had never heard from his cries before. He endured. He endured it all alone, for so long. What? Grafia was worried. He's gazed at it. He's a sage. He's one with nature. He endured it all. His mind never broke. He never gave up. Throughout it all. Sears had heard Naruto tell his story to them. This was experiencing that story. He experienced firsthand a fraction of what Naruto had experienced, and just that fraction was enough for him to nearly give it all up. He almost abandoned his memories of his family. He almost gladly abandoned it all. The eternal hell that was trying to remember who he was, and not finish becoming one with the endless abyss. He had become part of infinity. The silence of nature as he got to watch everything from an outside point of view. The beautiful silence that was being an observer to all things. He had achieved enlightenment for brief moments, but he had been forced to pull back for fear of giving in. What are you talking? It's okay, it's okay. It's not okay. How did he do it? How did he endure all of it? Why did he do it? Why? Why didn't he just give up? It would have been easy. He would have been happy. He put himself through hell. He endured an endless hell. Because of hope. Because he hoped for the day he could breathe once more. Sears screamed. He screamed and cried at the top of his lungs. Naruto never backed down. Naruto never gave up. Naruto wanted to give up so many times he was tempted to give up, but he never did. He always remained who he was. He retained the fact that he was supposed to endure. He endured everything and anything. He felt the pain of every death he could sense. He felt the joy and sorrow of watching so many lives vanish. I've seen eternity. I wanted to break. I wanted to abandon you. I wanted to abandon everything. I'm lucky. I remembered to break the connection. I remained who I am. Sears cried not just for Naruto, but for himself. He hated what he had almost succumbed to. He had almost abandoned everything dear to him. Naruto saved me. He called out to me when I tried to give up. Naruto. He's reliving his hell, just for the chance to get his memories back. Sears cried more for Naruto. Naruto was awake through the entire time that he was being forced to watch his own memories. He saved him. He tried to save both of those in his memories. He kept calling out to them so that they didn't fall victim. Naruto had figured out that he might still be considered human, even when he was a statue, and that those memories might be counted among the ones that the magic would force them to view. I'm sorry. I should have remembered Sage Mode sooner. I shouldn't have put any of you through that. Naruto woke up, his eyes open once more. Sears hugged Naruto. No, I'm sorry. You experienced it all a second time. How did you endure it? How did you endure that endless hell? Sears had to know. He had to ask. He needed to know how Naruto never gave up, despite how tempting it would have been. He needed the answer. Naruto smiled. Because that is the path I live by, it's my nindo, I never give up. That was all. That was how Naruto remained who he was. He had such resolve and ability for the simple reason that he could endure anything so long as he had hope and his unbreaking will by his side. He never gave up, and that was what made him different. No, it was something even more fundamental. There were many people who claimed that they would never give up, and many people who believed in such a thing. Naruto was different. His heart was endless. His endless love allowed him to truly be the man that could say he didn't give up. He would die for his friends with a smile. He would take the world on all by himself to protect a single person. Even though his memories faded, and he couldn't remember his friends, they were still so precious to him in his heart that he refused to give up on them. He kept the love he felt for them alive. He kept their history alive inside of his heart. Naruto. Thank you, Sears Grafia asked, confused. For what? Thank you for being born. Thank you for enduring all that pain and suffering, because you blessed my life with a friend like you. Thank you for becoming part of my life. Sears wrapped his arms as tight as he could around Naruto. He wanted to convey everything in his physical action, He wanted Naruto to feel his words. His utmost sincerity. This was the blessing that even a devil like him could receive. The ability to know the man before him. He was the couch. This was going to be a hilarious prank, something that would be amusing for him. He asked Sears X not to tell anyone his therapy was over now and he was in the human world, 2 days before he would be joining classes. So everyone just assumed that Naruto was still in the underworld with the others. They don't even realize I'm here. He was the couch that Kaneko and Asia were sitting on, while Asia talked with Rias about how her last contract with Kaneko had gone. Nobody was even clued into the fact that the very couch underneath their butts was actually Naruto. That he could feel them through his couch, i.e. exterior, able to feel their butts. He didn't think this through a lot. The turn into thing technique, temporary name, was great for infiltration, but it was also great for stealth pranks that he could pull off at the top of the hat. He could feel each minuscule part of the curves in their asses. Kaneko's ass was smaller, more tightly rounded, but the athletic muscles in her ass made it actually softer than Asia's ass. At the same time, the fat content of Asia's ass was higher, so it had more size to it, and it gave off a more cool sensation. It wasn't as soft as Kaneko's ass, but that wasn't to say she had a hard ass. It was soft in a different kind of way. He didn't think this prank through enough. He was so going to get punched for letting them sit on him for so long, if they discovered it was him at least. He was going to have to rework his prank, since this was a surprise prank that had yet to be unleashed. Issei told me men are wolves when I tried to take a bath with him. A friend from class told me that skinship was normal for a healthy relationship. Oh, it is. Between girls, it's less normal for guys and girls, or guys and guys in human society at least. Skinship is considered very normal for our culture. Rias had no problem with nude skinship between herself and any member of her peerage. Her society didn't place nearly as much value in nudity as humans did. She flipped the pages in her reports from her brother, and she smiled when she saw that Naruto had finished his therapy. He would be in the human realm in 2 days when he transferred to their school, meaning that she had 2 days to prepare herself and regard her actions for a good move. The surprise visit from Naruto where she tried to show off her peerage to him ended with failure. But at least Naruto made a good impression to her group. That seemed to hold a bit more respect for him than just the way she described him to them. It was just the girls in the room. On her orders, Yuto was helping Issei train himself to use his sacred gear, so the boys were out of the room. She could help Issei herself, but since Issei was a pervert she didn't want Naruto to get the wrong impression of what her spending extra time with him could mean. It was a shame really. Issei was a good boy underneath his desires, and she would have liked to take a more active role in introducing him to good training. Rias loved training and putting her peerage through training. The more demanding the training, the better the results, and she loved to get results from training. She didn't do a ton of training personally other than learning to properly focus her power of destruction, and learning basic magics. She was born with a high-class body, so strength training didn't do a lot for her, so she stuck to very basic health-oriented physical training. Physically speaking, Akeno, Yuto, and Kaneko were all physically stronger than she was, but her magical powers still made her stronger than all of them in combat at the moment. She was a power wizard type in battle, with no support skills at the moment. Oh, Asia seemed saddened by the knowledge that she had made a mistake. Naruto was the couch. Issei is a lucky man. This is a nice but I need to focus. How am I going to prank them without them realizing it was me? Naruto thought. Regarding his current situation is rather troublesome. Mostly because he didn't make it a habit of thinking these kinds of things through all the way when he was in a go with the flow kind of mood. Just get naked and sleep in bed with him. He will do the rest of the work. Kaneko's suggestion wasn't for Asia to have sex with Issei, and while it was perverted, it was just so that she could cut the conversation short. She just didn't care about this love life talk that was going on, since she would rather not think about Issei naked if she could help it. It was bad enough that she was sure Issei thought about all of them naked frequently, when there were very few people she wanted to have those thoughts about her. As flattering as it was to be found attraction, being found attractive by mostly perverts didn't exactly boost her self-confidence. It just made her feel like it was only deranged perverts that could be attracted to her body. When the only people that comment on how sexy you are perverts, it does not make you feel that much better. I could never do that. I mean, not right now. Asia corrected herself, since part of her was really curious about how much she wanted to do it. She didn't have any competition for Issei, she just wanted Issei to confess to her. Rias seemed to have no interest in the boy, and neither did Akeno or Kaneko. All the girls in the school were repelled by the boy, so she knew that she could take her time getting him to notice her as a woman. Naruto was the couch. He was hearing this entire secret conversation right now, and the longer the conversation went on the more he was realizing this was a bad idea for him. Bad ideas like this were up his alley, and he was well suited for getting himself out of these kinds of messes. The couch feels different. It feels better than usual. Kaneko noticed, since for some reason the couch seemed a lot better. It was like she could feel it was firm and soft in all the right places, much better than the usual couch that was worn down from years of use. It was like an entirely new couch. She pushed her ass deeper into the couch to get even more comfortable, and leaned backwards so that she could enjoy it further and further. Really, Rias got out of her chair and walked over to the couch, before she sat down next to Kaneko, between herself and Asia. Naruto was the couch. Rias had a much bigger ass thanks to her wider hips, and it had a completely different feel to it than either Asia or Kaneko. Rias did some training, but not really as much as Kaneko, so the feel of her ass was a lot less muscular softness, and focused completely on subcutaneous fat with a good base for size. It was softer than Asia's ass, but not as soft as Kaneko's ass. It had more size and give to it at the same time, and more elastic property that gave it a more to grab kind of feeling without it being unattractive due to higher fat content. "You're right, it does feel better than normal," Rias exclaimed as she got comfortable on the couch, rubbing her ass against it as she got herself dug in deeper. Naruto was the couch. In relative position to his body, Kaneko was currently sitting on his face, Rias was sitting on his chest, and Asia was sitting on his waist. That was the way that he could feel it against his body at the very least. It was a funny feeling to have three girls sitting on him, getting comfortable as they rubbed their asses all over his body. He had become couch. For a person like Naruto who was used to transforming himself into weapons, rocks, dogs, other people, and whatever he could get away with, he was very used to pretending to be what he was pretending to be. This was a different kind of transforming situation he had found himself in, where his prank was backfiring on him. "That comfortable, huh?" Akeno asked as she set her tea tray down, and sat on Asia's other side. Akeno had the biggest ass, it had the least muscle content, the most fat content, but was somehow the softest ass as well with the least give to it. Her ass was like an elastic pillow that wouldn't easily give, and would always return to its sharp softness. It had pillowy marshmallow softness to it. It was cooler in temp, slightly bigger than Rias's ass, but the muscles that were there were formed years previously. It was a late of current muscle training, but a foundation of early life muscle training that made this ass unique. It was the ass of a sadist, a woman that could smother a guy with her ass and choke him out. Kaneko's ass was the ass of an athlete. Asia's ass was the ass of a person who spent a lot of time outside, in the sunlight. Ria's ass was that of a girl who did basic training to stay in shape, but had good genetics. Akino's ass was of great genetics, and early life training for a good foundation built for maso-sadism. The athlete, the normal girl, the seducer, and the pervert. This is way better than normal, it's almost like I'm smothering a person. Naruto was a couch, and couches did not have ass, but in relative position Akeno was smothering his with her ass. It was only because he was a couch that he didn't get extremely rock hard at the moment. He currently had 4 girls rubbing themselves on him, and because he was sure he would get punished, he couldn't turn back to normal and reveal the prank. The prank was to transform back and let everyone freak out. That prank backfired on him, because now he couldn't turn back without being called a massive super pervert for it. It was taking every part of his willpower not to drop the transformation simply due to how aroused he was at the current situation, and the fact he could literally feel the different kind of panties they were wearing. Asia was wearing innocent. Akeno had a barely there thong. Kaneko was wearing side-tie panties, and Rias was going see-through where the fabric was thin around her butt. Naruto was the couch. Naruto stayed the couch until everyone went home late into the night, and it was only then that he dropped the transformation and replaced the couch with the original couch. He never once allowed himself to transform back, even when he spent 8 hours having asses rubbed all across his body. Prank failed. He would try again tomorrow.